just wanting to change, just starting to take those baby steps towards a more positive outlook, puts you light years ahead of where most people are. Hello, and welcome to The Joy Within, where we're eliminating negativity one thought at a time. I'm Kyle Greenfield, and I'll be your guide as we explore how to be calm, confident, and happy in our crazy modern world. Join us each week as we dive into some of the biggest ideas in spirituality and personal development. We'll learn what it takes to gain control of your own mind, master your mood, and navigate the many ups and downs along the way. Visit thejoywithin.org to get started so you can become the calm, confident, and happy person you truly deserve to be. Hello, and welcome back to the Joy Within's podcast. Today, I want to answer a question that I received last week from a student who has been struggling to build the habits that will help her create lasting positive change. And this is similar to a question that I get definitely every week, sometimes multiple times a week. So I wanted to take some time to go through it. She wrote, "Hi Kyle, I joined a few weeks ago and am loving everything so far. You have a really clear way of helping me see that I can control my thoughts. My problem is that even though I want to change, I'm having trouble feeling motivated enough to do the work I know I need to do. I struggle with self-confidence, and I've had some depression in the past, and I don't want to go back there. I know I need to meditate, and I know I need to step back, but somehow it just feels like a chore. I get overwhelmed, and I don't do anything. What should I do?" Okay, so firstly, I think it's important to understand that you're not alone in this feeling. I know that it's really easy to feel overwhelmed or to beat yourself up for feeling like you're not moving fast enough, not progressing fast enough, or maybe that you're falling behind in some way, especially if you skip a day or two. But I think the first step is that you have to recognize that you are in charge of your own journey. Only you can decide how much or how often you're going to tune in and work on yourself. And there is no right or wrong amount of time. There's no right or wrong answer to that. So give yourself permission to take a break, take the pressure off, and let yourself grow at the pace that is right for you. When you join Happiness University, you immediately unlock a ton of courses. So I know that it's easy to feel overwhelmed. And that's why I recommend that for most new students, you follow the Foundations roadmap, which breaks everything down into small daily steps. I recommend that you commit about 20 minutes a day to start, but if that's too much, you can break it down even further. Starting with just 5 or 10 minutes a day is a really great place to be. You might decide to do just the meditations, or just to follow along with the videos, or just to try one exercise or two. Breaking it down in that way would make it a little easier to manage. But the other thing is don't feel like you have to keep a strict schedule. While I do think it's best to move forward with small, consistent daily steps, to pick a time, the same place every day to work on these ideas, because that's how you'll really build the best habits. You don't have to feel like you need to start at that point. It can be more sporadic, it can be more casual at first, and maybe over time you will feel inspired to take more daily action. And that's okay. If you miss a day, that's okay. Just log in and pick back up where you left off. You might even decide to intentionally take a few days off. Give yourself time to let the ideas sink in. I know it takes time to internalize some of these concepts. You don't even have to actively think about them all of the time. If you follow the steps, if you watch the videos at your own pace, the main principles will start to seep in, and they will start to work on a subconscious level. And that can take a lot of forms. I mean, it might mean randomly waking up one day feeling like you've had a huge insight. Or it might feel like a gradual yearning, a gradual feeling of really wanting to change, like the one you described. That wanting, that yearning, is always the first step. And don't discount the importance of that. Because even though it doesn't feel like you've quote unquote done anything just yet, just wanting to change, just starting to take those baby steps towards a more positive outlook, puts you light years ahead of where most people are. Most people aren't even aware that they struggle with negative thoughts. And most people that are aware they struggle with negative thoughts don't think they can change or never take the action that they need to change. So the very fact that you're here, that you've started, puts you ahead of the pack. Just by being here, you have already put yourself in a really great position. You're doing really well. Accept and acknowledge that. Accept and acknowledge the progress that you have already made just by showing up today. The habits will come. The habit of tuning in, the habit of meditating, the habit of taking time for your inner growth. All of that will come. At the beginning, it might feel like a chore, like yet another task that you have to do, because you have not yet developed this habit. And at the start, you've probably not yet seen the results that will motivate you to make the habit a reality. And this is, I think, one of the hardest stages to be in, because it's a bit of a catch-22. You need to build the habit to see change, but it's hard to feel motivated until you start making progress. So you feel stuck. And this is why that desire, that feeling of really wanting to change, is so important early on. That's why it's the essential first step. Because you have to persist long enough to build the habit. As you do, everything gets easier. You start to see results, so you're more motivated, and you get more and more accustomed to making these simple little shifts that will really add up and will really transform your way of thinking. It becomes a virtuous cycle. But when you're first starting out, it can definitely take some willpower to kickstart that positive spiral. And it's okay if that feels like a chore. The question is how you're going to get over that hurdle. And for that, I suggest breaking it down to the smallest possible action. For example, I would decide that maybe your only goal is to sit down every day for 30 days in a row and press play on a meditation. Don't even worry about trying to meditate. Don't worry about how long you sit there or what your mind thinks. Your goal is just to press play. And yes, of course, you can sit and listen. You want to close your eyes and try to relax, but that's not your main goal. You're not trying to do anything. Actually meditating, actually starting to quiet the mind, actually starting to think differently, that's all a bonus. The first goal is just to start, just to press play. That's it. Now again, you can break this down any way that you want, but I want you to think in that way. I want you to think about the smallest possible step you can take, something that you can do consistently on the schedule you set and stick to it. Smaller than what you think will make a difference, because it's not about that action. It's about what that action will lead to over time. That's how you get out of feeling like it's a chore. That's how you get out of feeling overwhelmed with it. Because when you break it down to that smallest possible first step, at first it doesn't seem like much. But what you're really doing is you're flipping your perspective. You're making the game more winnable. Those early wins will make you feel more eager and more excited to continue. They will help you to kickstart that positive virtuous cycle I just mentioned. And they'll help you to build the habit. And that's what will lead to the bigger breakthroughs later on. So break it down in whatever way that makes sense for you, on whatever schedule that makes sense for you, to whatever the easiest, tiniest first step is, even if it seems like a drop in the bucket. Stick with that for a couple of weeks, and you'll be surprised at how quickly you'll start building momentum and creating real, lasting change. Thanks for listening to today's episode. When you're ready to put these ideas to work in your own life, head over to thejoywithin.org and sign up for Happiness University. When you do, you'll have access to all of the tools and strategies you need to eliminate negative thoughts by tuning in to the joy within. You can follow a simple, step-by-step system to become the calm, confident, and happy person you deserve to be. Visit thejoywithin.org to get started today. And if you enjoyed today's podcast, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone you love, because I think we can all use a little more joy in our crazy modern world.